to Linda McGuigan. Linda, you are up with the great KG.
Oh, Linda, we can't hear you.
Oops, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
May I call you KG? Is that
Yeah.
it's such a pleasure. Such a pleasure to be with you here today, and thanks for spending time with us. I could picture you walking around a college campus. I mean, you look so young and you're so vibrant. I find people like you fascinating that have, are obviously following their dreams and obviously living their purpose. And my question to you is, at what age did you decide that this is kind of what you wanted to be doing that has evolved into where you are today? And I know you're still, the sky's the limit. Your life could go a lot of different directions. But at what age did you say, I want to serve others. I want to be with people. As opposed to going, with your education and credentials, go to IBM and be a senior global VP of sales or something like that. Which is the route I took. I took the corporate world. Mm-hmm. When did you decide this is what you wanted to be, this type of leader?
Did you go to IBM, by the way? Is that the corporation?
No, I was in telecom. So first I went to US Tel, which became Sprint, and then I went to AT&T. So I spent my world with technology behemoths. Wow. And now I've been with startups for the past 10 or 15 years, which is a lot more fun. But I'm fascinated because I remember one of my early mentors was a guy by the name of John Maxwell, who I assume you know who he is. He's a big writer and kind of iconic. And I'll never forget, the first time I saw him speak was in a church. It was the year 2000, and he was probably 50 years old, late 40s. And I went up to him, and I for the purpose of, I wanted to suitcase some of his training for some global AT&T training. And he said to me, Linda, people come up to me all the time and say, I want to be you. I want to be John Maxwell. I want to be talking in front of all these people and all that. He says, and I always look at the person and say, well, do you want to spend the last 2 decades traveling the world, giving speeches, saying the same thing over and over, learning from people, reading, writing? All that immersion made him into what he was when I saw him standing on the stage there at the age of 49. And he's gone on to do many things since then. But I just find it fascinating, people who have the core, direction, the intuition, the commitment to go in the direction you have gone to a position of influence, because you're a young lady that, 2 or 3 decades from now will look back and you will have done enormous things to influence people, enormous. And so I'm just curious.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a meandering path. I remember in my 20s, I had this quote from Diane von Furstenberg in my little gray felt cube that said, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew the sort of woman I wanted to become. And I kept waiting for my purpose to hit me. Like I thought you have this special purpose, and then one day it's like a lightning rod and it just, shoots down from above. And I thought there was something, I was so hungry for it for like a decade, and just, I wanted one, and women I admired seemed to have one, and where do I go to get mine? And it just didn't come, it wasn't coming. And so it was really interesting. I, at least for me, in my experience, it came from a place of finally realizing that it's not, you don't get that vision or that purpose in a loud moment. It's in the quiet whispers. It's in the quiet whispers. And then once you can kind of make contact with the truth of who and what you are, you're able to start to visualize and create a vision for your life. And I love this idea. I think we're so limited in our visioning. Like, you think about what is realistic in a lifetime. And so when I vision, I'm thinking, what could I do, create, be, have if I had 10 lifetimes? Like, what would that look like? And it is so vibrant and alive in my mind's eye, the sort of like the scale and volume of impact that I want to have in the world and the things that I want to go and co-create with people. It's something that initially, I kept very private, because it feels crazy and delusional. And then I think, again, the more you come to know yourself and you get comfortable in your own skin and you age, and you're then comfortable starting to encourage others to do some of that big visioning as well. But I'm
Great answer. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
I mean, I see a big pocket of influence where you could really make a difference is women coming out of college. Young women coming out of school, college, and having all those choices, to give them the message that, it will come to you. You do have the power to make the right decision at the right time. I mean, that kind of encouragement is just priceless.
Yeah.
Just priceless.
No one really
thank you.
gets the bridge then. Yeah. Thanks for that, Linda.